Hi everyone. Um, uh, Welcome to public speaking. Um, my name is Megan Orchowski, but you can call me Mizzo. I can explain more of that um, later. I um, I'm so sorry that this video is later than I wanted it to be. I had some issues, but hopefully that everything is up and going now. Um, and if you if you have questions, you can just email me. I'm sorry. Um, so my name is Megan Orchowski, and I have I did my undergraduate at North Central College in Naperville, Illinois, and then I did grad work at Mankato, Minnesota, and um, and then I taught for a while in um, Fargo Moorhead, um, and in Moorhead at Concordia College, and now I'm here at the UW.
Now I would like you to pause the video and read the instructions on your screen. So you're going to want to get a piece of paper or a note card of some kind, and you will want to first write down your understanding of public speaking. That can be definitional, but it can also be, I also want you to think about stereotypes or what you think of when you think of public speaking. And then write aspects that are involved in the communication process. So, what does it take to communicate? What are the things that we are analyzing or using when we communicate? So, right now, you can't see me, and that would be a thing, right? That the visual thing you're looking at. And then, if you could see me, there are things about that, but you can hear my voice, which would be an aspect. Please pause the video, answer these questions. Okay, now we will begin. Public speaking is an incredibly important skill. You are here for a reason. Your class has been required, and you are here to take this class in order to learn skills to become better public speakers and communicators. Along with public speaking, we will be thinking about the choices that go into public speaking and the resources that you might learn and understand and use in order to develop your skills in presentations. How many of you are bored or zoned out because of the way that I am speaking and because of what you see on the screen? So the first thing I'm going to change is the visual aspect. Now you can see me. But I want you to notice that there is still something missing in terms of connection with you, and that is my eye contact. So that is the next aspect of communication, which if some of you put facial expressions, that would connect as well. So now I'm going to look at you. I'm going to try really hard not to change anything else. Side note, this is very hard to do. So one of the things that people often say next is tone. So monotone is a misnomer. It is impossible to speak monotone, truly monotone, unless you're a robot. But you can notice that I'm not actually altering my vocal tone very much, and I am putting a bit of a seriousness on it. So now, can you start to see the difference as I start to vary my tone? And maybe, public speaking, we're here to think about, we're here because this is an incredibly important skill you should have. See the difference when I am altering my tone. Um, so now you're starting to hear the change in how I'm presenting to you. And of course, you can see me now and my eyes. And I'm going to break. Usually, it is one of the last ones. How many of you wrote facial expressions or smile? I am mind blown how much the facial expressions matter and how no one ever puts them. In fact, usually it's gestures that come next, so that you've got somebody talking, that somebody says, oh, I want you to move, I want you to gesture. Now, that might be something that we don't think about as much because we're on video. So you might have been okay with me talking like this. But when I'm in my in-person classes, that's one of the first things they release. Okay, so notice how different it is to have me moving like this. I'm trying to fix my hair here. Talking like this. This is so different than the person that was talking to you just a couple minutes ago. Oh, I've also increased my speed or changed my speed a little bit. With that sort of monotone vocal tone, I tried to make sort of a stern speed. And now I'm trying to alter my speed based on, when do I want to talk to you casually and when do I want you to really understand a concept? So this probably, right, I sort of then kind of stop and ask, okay, how many of you want that person that was talking before to be your public speaking teacher? And most people go, no, thank you. I used to do this slightly different. For years, I started literally my very first class. I was a graduate student at Mankato, Minnesota, and all the stuff I said about my life in the other video, in the opening of this video, I should say, is true. I just don't mention that I study performance, and and so the grad students who had been there a year, so the second year grad students pulled us aside and gave us tips and stuff, and they basically said, everybody's going to hate your class. And I was like, not my class. My class is going to be awesome. I was so excited to teach. And I literally called my mom after the first class and was like, she talks about it like I came home. I found my place in life. And so they kept saying, no, everybody hates Communication 100. Everybody hates public speaking. So I went home and I started brainstorming and mulling and figuring out okay, what could I do? And so I came in that first day absolutely flustered, like just somebody's worst nightmare public speaker. Fidgeting and late and anxious and disorganized. And I did that for years, literally every public speaking class for over a decade. And last semester, I started to realize that this generation, and some of you might not be in this generation, and if you're not, hi, welcome. I might be in your generation. Hey, shout out to elder millennials. Woo-hoo. You have to say elder because millennials are a whole different breed. I'm an elder millennial, not a Gen Xer. Those people are awesome and badass, and I wish I was that, but I'm not quite that. I'm not cool enough to be that. Elder millennial. Which for those of you that were around in the 90s and remember caboodles, I'm calling my nails lately caboodle couture, which I love. Okay, so you all aren't as afraid. There isn't the same level of fear or anxiety as there was 15 years ago. Now you all just don't want to do it. And what I was finding was there are still people that are terrified. And I would guess that some of you are purposely taking this online because you do not want to take it in person. And that you are afraid and you think it might be easier to give to your computer. You don't have to see the people and you don't have to deal with them. Maybe you were hoping that they wouldn't even see your speeches, but they are going to in my class. But the good news is you'll be okay with it because I'm going to get you on board right now. Are you ready? I'm going to start right now and then it'll keep going for the next few weeks. So, uh, I lost where I was. I was having such a good time. Uh, oh, y'all aren't afraid. So what I was finding was people would do it, but they would just read and it would just be like, get it done. And there wasn't sort of that awareness of like, I want to figure out how to do this in a way that's effective. So I changed the opening. So you actually got to see both. You got to see me be nervous. I cut from an old video. When I had blue hair, I literally turned my bathroom completely blue. It looked like Mystique from X-Men, which is cooler than Smurfette. I was like, girl Smurf, baby Smurf. What's her name? She's not a Spice Girl. Okay. So, and then I did sort of this sort of, sort of tone, and very purposely, you couldn't see me, right? And I've watched entire videos where people like never show their faces. And think about if I had made this entire video and you were just looking at slides, you couldn't see me at all. Or if I was here, right? Because a different background might have you thinking different things about me. I'm going to give you a second to look at all the cool things in this background. Don't miss the, other side. Don't miss the naked body candles and the DC superheroes. Ooh, this is weird. This way. Up there. You can see them, right? Up there. I'm not just joking. And then obviously it also changes if you were to add a 3-year-old with bacon. Or here. And notice how the noises are different here. So I might be talking and there would be a dog barking. Also, things would rhetorically change if you knew that behind this couch was a ball pit. And it is totally adult sized just by clear coincidence. It's definitely not so I can go in it too.
You have to say I'm in it.
You are in it.
You have to say I'm in it.
Maeve is in it. And so now I've then showing you the different aspects and releasing them one by one. I want you to start to think about like, I only released like 3 or 4 things, right? That sort of contribute to how I'm communicating with you. And now because I'm doing them differently, you're having a different experience as the audience. But I get to this point, and then I think people, they think this is it. And I really want you to start expanding your idea of what public speaking could be, and what you could do as a speaker. So you think this is it. You think I'm hopefully you're enjoying the video now, and this is probably your expectation of like an enjoyable online professor. But I want to show you something, and I'm hoping this is going to work. Did you even remember that I could do this? Yeah, I mean, I could choose to do this, right? Oh, I forgot to wear my scarves. Hold on. Ta-da! Okay, so now I'm up here. And this totally changes your experience, doesn't it? And maybe you saw this in the background and were like, she could get up on that desk and do the video like that. Now, maybe this doesn't have the same effect. When I'm in class, people are like, looking up at me like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Here's the problem. Because now maybe you're thinking, okay, like, well, you can do that, Ms. O. You can talk like this and move like this and present like this, but I can't. Yeah, of course you can't. Unless you have trained public speaking for 20 years, like I have, and really longer because I was, 20 years was when I started to get actual training, but I've been performing since birth. So like, yeah, you don't train like I do. this would be like, okay, let's pretend, I don't know what kind of thing you're into. You can kind of do any sport, but I usually do running or basketball. Let's do running because you're either a runner or you only run when someone's chasing you. There's like usually not too much middle ground. So for those of you that are runners, right, you have probably been running a long time. And I'll pull someone out of the crowd and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I ran cross country in high school. I've run a marathon, whatever it is, right?" And then I find someone that's like, "Do you run?" And they're like, "No." Is someone chasing me? Because if not, am I running towards food that I need to get to? That's what motivates me, right? So if I turned this into a running class, okay, now it's a running class, we would not be surprised at all that the person who has been running and in cross country was great at it. And we wouldn't feel bad about it. We wouldn't for a second go, "Oh, we're not as good as they are." No, because we would know they've been running a long time. We haven't. And the person, it's like if there's another student who hasn't been running, we wouldn't be surprised or shame them when they had to walk half the mile the first time they ran it. And then, but a week later, they wouldn't be a fabulous runner, but they would be better. And then 5 weeks later, right? And that whole time, let's say the class is 15 weeks, we get to the end of 15 weeks. If that person could run a mile and run the whole thing and the time was way better than 15 weeks before, even if it wasn't even close to the person who's been running this whole time, who's been running for years, we would be so proud of them. And we would never think to shame them, like, "Oh, you're not a good runner. Oh, you can't even run the whole mile." We would never do that because running is a skill that can be trained, and so is public speaking. Write that down. If you're taking notes, you'll want to write that down. Public speaking is a skill, okay? And it is a skill that can be trained. That's why we're here. People always say to me, "Oh, I'm terrible at public speaking. I can't public speak." And I'll go, "Oh yeah, how much do you do it?" "I'm terrible at downhill skiing." We go, "Oh, are you a downhill skier?" No, no, that's why I'm terrible at it, right? Though I wish I could fly like the skiers, like, right, like that. So we're here to train public speaking. And many of you, maybe don't want to be here. And if you're nervous about public speaking or scared of it, my guess is a lot of those interpretations that you maybe had about the beginning of this video, right? That like you're not prepared, you're unorganized, you're boring, you're too anxious, you're whatever those are, right? You're unintelligent, you don't know what you're talking about. Like that's typically what people are scared of. But here's the deal. I actually can't control those. Neither can you. Those are interpretations. I always tell the story about how my mom didn't like Obama when he came on the scene. And she thought he sounded like a used car salesman. And I was always like, "Mom," because I spent the Bush years like under my bed with like, because Bush is just such a horrible public speaker. This is not a political discussion. I love talking. I mean, everything's a political discussion. Let's be real. But like, I can't get the backward of the forward-facing camera. But like, if you want to talk about politics, come to my office, send me a video, drop me a phone call, shoot me a text, if you will. This is a conversation about public speaking. And I just like, I don't think it's very controversial to claim that Bush was awful. Bush too. And Obama is a fantastic public speaker. Doesn't mean you got to like him. And my mom didn't even like how he was speaking, which is, it's like if Obama has critics, what chance do we have, right? Come on. But here's the thing. If you train public speaking as a skill, those interpretations become less important, right? Haters gonna hate. Now, I'm hoping that you're having a great time, and I'm hoping you're kind of surprised at how cool and entertaining I am and how fast this 20-minute video has gone by once you got past that first part, right? But even me, I'm fantastic right? And I should be, because I've been doing this, training this a long time, just like you've probably got something you're fantastic at, right? Play an instrument, you do a sport, a craft, a hobby, a video game, whatever it is, right? Ooh, I'm also good at the original Mario, the only non-subjective thing I've ever been good at. I'll kick your butt. But there are still people who don't love me, who don't love listening to me, or love listening to me all the time, right? It's subjective. But again, it's a skill. It's a skill. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're going to do. We're going to train this skill and we're going to do it online. Yes, we are. And so, yeah, you're not going to hate this class. Give me a few weeks, even online. I'm excited to read your surveys and see what they said and figure out how to get us communicating with each other. I'm excited to meet you all and listen to your intros. My name's Dr. Megan Orchowski, but I go by Mizzo, Mizzo. And yeah, I will do more of an intro once you all ask me your questions, but hopefully this video has gotten you a little bit of an idea about like what I'm like and the fact that how symbols make meaning gets me really excited. That's just what I do, right? I call myself a rhetorician, but really I'm just a 5-year-old who gets really excited about symbols. Yeah, so I hope you have a beautiful day and always reach out if you need anything. Bye.